there in the world. I am making this video for my daughter Alice. She is 5 years old. September 2017, when she was 4, a few weeks before that, and it all started, she had been bit by a tick on the back of her neck, and it happened to get really gross. It was pussy and disgusting. And I went to the doctors because one day she woke up and couldn't move. Her neck was so stiff and her whole body was swollen. Pretty much every joint. She had blood work done. Her white blood cell counts were astronomical. Her red blood cell counts were bad. Her iron was low. And they didn't have a clue what to do. Between September 2007 and January 2018, I brought her to the family doctor 7 times, to the ER 3 times. At one of the ER visits right here in Sebasticook Valley, at Sebasticook Valley Hospital in Pittsfield, Maine. They may be a small hospital, but honestly, if I had to give them a review, I've never dealt with such kindness at a hospital. They were amazing, and they have been amazing. They put her on an antibiotic and a steroid for the swelling and the rash, and to see whatever was in her body, the bacteria, so they could get rid of it. When they gave her that regimen, she did so well. But as soon as I brought her back to the doctors and explained what they had put her on, the doctor didn't agree, and they gave her a referral to a rheumatoid specialist in Portland, Maine. At this point, I was sort of at a wit's end, frustrated, dealing with my own health problems, and trying to make sure that I can get up every day to deal with my daughter's health problems. So, in the end of January, we went to an appointment down in Scarborough at the rheumatology specialist. At that current time, they refused to say that it was Lyme's disease and diagnosed her with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis with a negative RH. The kind she has was affecting, instead of one joint, every joint in her body. What made me reluctant to believe it is because I knew what happened with the tick, and I know my children. What I have learned over the years is to trust my instinct. But because they sent us there, they decided to try her on methotrexate, and they said that she would be going into remission in a month, and then we would be back to our normal lifestyle. Methotrexate is a chemo medication. It affects your hair, any type of small cells on your body, because the purpose to it is to lower your immune system. Well, it was torture for her. She couldn't get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. She couldn't hold it. Her skin was deteriorating in front of our eyes. She would itch her earlobes so bad that they would crack and she'd bleed, which she has done up until last week. The methotrexate wasn't working. And so instead, they wanted to put her on methotrexate and Humira together. If you've read about either one of those, you'd understand why, as a parent, we were dreadfully scared to put her on them. It affects your body, and it's proven to actually cause cancer later on in life, depending on how long you've been on it, ironically enough. Her hair was falling out, her fingernails and toenails were coming off. Scared is not the word I would use. She's such a beautiful, amazing little girl. And still, coming into March, April with the medication she was on, it just wasn't working. Something wasn't right. And in my gut, I still believed it was Lyme's disease. So the doctors tried to humor me and did 2 tests, because that's all they do in the state of Maine. They actually do more tests on your dogs. They do 4 altogether on your animals. Both of the tests that they did here in Maine for the Lyme's disease came back negative. So instead of trying an antibiotic and a steroid again, they wanted us to do the methotrexate and the Humira at the same time. The methotrexate is a shot that you have to give your child once a week. It's painful. Having to listen to her scream and say, "Mom, I'm scared," and have to hold her, because when she has shots, she turns into a 300-pound man. It is excruciating to have to inflict pain on your own child because you're doing what the doctors have told you. By April, They, as I said, wanted to do both types of medication, and I said no. Let's do one at a time. There's already enough stuff that she could be having a reaction from the medication itself. Reluctantly, the doctor agreed, and we sent in for the prescription for Humira. Humira, you cannot get at the regular pharmacies. They actually have to ship it in through a special pharmacy. The first time we gave her the shot of Humira, which normally I hold her down, and her dad, because he doesn't shake as much as I do, gives her the shot. During the shot, she screamed so loud that all I could do was basically shut off or cry, because as a parent, you try to keep your strength for them. You try to make sure that you don't cry, so it isn't made into a huge issue. But watching the pain she was going through was insane. Last week, we had to give her another shot of Humira, and she looked at me before she had to have it done and told me, "Mom, I'm scared." She wasn't crying or screaming. She was just scared. I believe that there's a higher power above. I believe personally in Jesus, myself, and God. I pray as much as I can. I offer up all my pain that it takes away hers. Going forward, we got a referral from my brother, who has his own set of issues around sensitivity to different chemicals, basically sensitivity to food, and his wife has Lyme's that at one point they actually thought was MS, and they couldn't figure out what it was, to a couple members of her family. They referred me to a couple down in Scarborough that deals with functional medicine. So you get a chance to heal it from the inside out. We went down there. Within 10 minutes of looking at her, the doctor said, "What are they treating her for?" And I said they were treating her for juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, but her RH was negative, not positive. And he said she does not have Lyme's disease. The day before we went down and met them, we actually ended up at the ER because the rash that she had primarily on her legs was spreading all the way up her body. And we don't really know what set it off. People, regardless if it's arthritis or Lyme's disease, have flare-ups. And it could be from a bug bite, it could be from the cold, it could be from the weather. You really don't know. It could be something you're feeding them. So, after the doctor saw her down in Scarborough, Maine, they said, no, it's Lyme's disease. They encouraged me to stop giving her methotrexate and her Humira, which Humira is the one she's on now, currently. They encouraged me to stop giving it to her. They're dead set she has Lyme's disease. They said that the way she looks, she has 3 different types, plus a subtype. The anger from the doctors not listening to me, and as a person in my past, I have lost custody of my child 10 years ago, and I fought 2 years to get him back. And one of the rules in the state of Maine is if you go against doctor's orders, especially around giving a medication to your child, regardless of how you feel about it, you can get in trouble, and they can investigate you and threaten to take your kids. And I finally, as of last week, found the right person who is medically willing to stand by me and say that no, this medication is not right for her. She's being mistreated. She's being misdiagnosed. And honestly, I think it still hasn't set in 100%, because I think I'd be so mad that I don't think I could stop crying. The anger I have towards her doctor and the rheumatologist for not listening and doing what they wanted and holding the fact that they could call the state on me if I didn't give her this medication that is eventually going to slowly kill her. It's just an anger that's deep. It's hard, but I'm afraid if I start crying about it, I won't ever stop.